Honorable Men Discord. Ray J defends Brandy. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend and tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So let's just go straight to it. Shine was on It Is What It Is with Cameron and Mace. And the topic of Brandy came up. And allegedly, Mace at one point was talking to Brandy or had some type of relationship with Brandy. And then when Shine became part of the Bad Boy family, Shine expressed that I guess he used to have a crush on Brandy and he wanted to talk to Brandy, and eventually he had the opportunity to talk to Brandy. And so in Cameron fashion, whilst they were both discussing having relations with Brandy, Cameron was chuckling here and there. I want to even say Mace was chuckling. And somebody would say that the whole conversation was still respectful to Brandy, but that is Ray J's sister. So you could imagine Ray J decided to respond. Now, I'm not going to play the video of what Ray J had to say because it was somewhat lengthy, and Ray J started to say things that, in my opinion, was bizarre. You'd have to look it up on your own. He said some questionable things, but it's not out of the norm of what he's been saying lately. The man, in my opinion, needs help. Not to mention, I mean, it was him that made it clear that he's having some type of heart condition. Now, I don't know how that's been since his post speaking on it, but here he is being Ray J again. You know, 1 minute it's a somber moment where I don't want to say he's looking for sympathy, but it was a sympathetic moment where he's talking about the doctor saying that he doesn't have much time to live because of a heart condition. And now he's back at it, saying outlandish things. But let's go into this video, which sparked him responding to Cameron, Mace, and Shine. So let's get to it.
I said off?
Yeah.
What happened with Brandy and everything? Man. Let's just do it.
Listen,
Let's do it. Who's dealing with Brandy?
Okay, let me switch my glass.
You know what happened?
We going here.
There was
Mace, you was dating Brandy at one time, or y'all was just, how'd it go?
I was special, you know. He came in and wanted to be special. so I had to let him be special.
I mean, no lies told.
Yeah,
he was Shaq.
Okay.
He was the champion. He was the MVP.
Right.
I was Kobe, no pun intended, because they said Kobe was a special friend of Brandy's as well.
Right.
But no pun intended.
Right.
But I was coming out of high school on the championship team, and he was the superstar of the team.
Right.
But I definitely did want to be special. I definitely, but I had no idea. So what happened is we had a mutual friend who was a snitch.
Okay.
So I'm not. I think he know who it is.
Right.
I'm not gonna expose him.
Right.
But so I was so excited because this is my dream person.
Right. Talk about Brandy.
Brandy,
Right.
I'm a poor kid, Brooklyn, watching MTV, watching Moesha, watching her on BET, and as a dream, I'm like, man, if she was to know Shine, I got that.
Right.
So when I came up, she was in the crosshairs, like I was sniping.
Right.
And I had no idea though, because he was special.
Right.
So he was running that playbook so discreetly, so quietly. I had no idea.
Yeah, he's sneaky.
Yeah, so he was an ultra sniper. But I was so excited, so I kept telling one of our mutual friends, and he was snitching me out. And then so Brandy was like, "Yo, who you told you here?
Right.
How so and so know that you here with me right now?" And I'm like, "Oh man."
Right.
So yeah.
That's what's up.
That's
you
right.
elaborate?
That's my story.
What I'm elaborating.
No, that's what's up.
So at least respectfully, when Cam asked Mace if you want to elaborate, Mace was like, "What am I elaborate on?" But you know, they have a way of laughing that is almost provokes reactions out of people, because one might say, "Well, what's so funny?" Now, did they say anything disrespectful? I think it's the laughter, the way they're laughing, and then there's certain words that Shine used, like I was sniping and she got caught in the crossfire. I mean, I know he's speaking on an older time when he was younger. He said when he came out of high school, around that time is when he got with Bad Boy. But when you're saying certain things like that, got caught in the crossfire, even to speak on an old fling as a grown man, as someone who was, I want to say he was deported to Belize, and then he found himself in politics, and now he's back in the States. He's been allowed to come back to the country. He's back in the States, and he's allegedly working on an album with Hit Boy, if I'm not mistaken. When you tell an old story, I personally, and this is my opinion, you could disagree with me, I personally feel like you shouldn't be using words like she got caught in the crossfire, was sniping. And also for Mace as someone who turned to religion, became a pastor, and I'm not saying he's no longer a religious person, but to say I was special, it's, once again, you're playing with words. Like, so I could understand why Ray J felt some kind of way about this interview. And the number one question is, forget about how Ray J feels about this. Would Brandy, after hearing this dialogue and all this laughter and words like I was special and he wanted to be special, so I let him be special, like, what exactly are you saying? You, regardless of how Brandy was moving at that time, she's grown. They're grown. They're extremely grown. They're older than 40. So they're in their 40s. And to speak like this about an old time, I think they could have made it a little bit more mature and more classy. That's just my take on it. If you disagree, let me hear why you disagree in the comment section. But I could understand why a brother of Brandy in Ray J would feel the way that he felt. But here, this clip I have is just a little clip of Academic's perspective on this, and I'll talk about it further.
Though, but Ray J stepping up. You don't like how he was talking about them. Well, what do I think? I don't know, man.
I don't be talking about old bitches. So why y'all talking about old shit? Girl and another girl, now they 45, laughing about some shit back in the day. I'm not going to have it.
All right, so he's basically just kind of upset that they mentioned his sister. What he need to realize, his sister has had a past. She's been in this industry. She probably been around mad niggas. Maybe she did her thing once or twice. I don't know how many, whatever she's done. You can't fight or protect her from everybody who is going to be offended by things she may do or stances she might have. So because someone told a story about her, what are you going to do? Fight all of these guys? I don't think that's the case.
All right, so I'm not here to say how Ray J should respond, as far as if when he sees them he wants to put hands on them. I'm not going to speak on that. But what I will say is, again, as mature men, well, as men, let me say men, because I'm not going to speak for them and about their maturity level, but as men, if you're speaking on the past, it's never tasteful to speak about relations with women that you were involved in. You can say we dated, but you don't have to make a spectacle out of it. And this one I'm gonna blame Cameron, because Cameron orchestrated it. He asked a question, and once he starts chuckling and giggling and laughing, Mace generally follows behind him and starts giggling and laughing. And then that just starts a domino effect of the buffoonery. Now, Shine wasn't really giggling and laughing. Mace is the one that started off using the word "I was special." Like, what exactly are you saying? How about just say, Brandy was a good friend, we dated for a little, and say it with a straight face. But listen, that's just my take on it. They have their own personalities, they're their own men, but I could understand why Ray J would be upset about them having that conversation and in the fashion that they had it. Had they had it in a different fashion, I don't think Ray J would have had anything to say about it. Because to be honest with you, when Shine started to elaborate on how he came to meet Brandy and his, what it was like before meeting her, how he was a fan of her, how he was attracted to her, in awe of her, then when he finally got a chance to meet her, there was nothing wrong with that because Brandy is a beautiful woman, and especially back then, so you could understand that part of it when he was explaining. But the little giggling and that's childish, and I'm just gonna call it for what it is. This has nothing to do about how I feel about Cameron's music, Mace's music, or Shine's music. This is just about how they handled speaking on a past relationship, and I stand on that. If anyone disagrees with me, let me hear you in the comment section. Keep in mind, as far as academics' take on it, I feel as though the right people to speak on this would be people who actually have sisters. All right, so I don't know if academics has a sister, and because if you have a sister or sisters, and they were involved with someone that decided to bring up their past relationship on a podcast, how would you feel about that? And if that's never happened to you, if you have a sister, how would you feel if you heard somebody who had a podcast speaking on a podcast with millions of subscribers at that? Because I believe it is what it is. It has over 1 million subscribers. I haven't checked how many subscribers they have, but they have reach. They have reach. And of course, like most things on social media, long format interviews get broken down into reels, so it's all over the place. So as a brother, and it's all over the place, that this is going to eventually make it to Brandy's eyes and ears, because someone who's close to her, maybe friends of hers or family members, going to say, hey, Mace and Shine were talking about you on and she's going to want to see it. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. But if she does decide to listen and see it, the question is, how does Brandy feel about the way they spoke about her? Forget about what Ray J's feeling about it. We know how he feels and felt about it. But do you actually think Brandy would look at it like, oh, they did it with class, they spoke about it with class? Or do you think she would be appalled and a little bit disgusted with the chuckling? And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I stand with my gut feeling on how this came across. And again, once you start chuckling and stuff like that, it's a bit high school. It feels like high school when you're doing stuff like that. That's not grown man behavior. And I stand on that. And it's just not. If you really genuinely want to be respectful, you would cancel out the laughter. And you would also not use things like, I wanted to be special and he wanted to be special, so I let him be special. It's almost as though like Mace is implying that, not that that's what he did, but it leaves that gray area where Mace is sort of saying like, well, he had that kind of pull. Like I just passed her along to Shine. It comes across like that. And that's where you're playing and you're being disrespectful. If you notice someone over here in the comment section, Tom Hanks, he put they absolutely were disrespectful. Then another person put Ray J took it out of context. What context did he take it out of? Am I missing something? If I'm missing something, jump in the comments. Let me know what I'm missing as far as Ray J's take on this. But again, Ray J's a brother. I'm a brother of sisters. So I would have took it the same way as Ray J. I would have looked at it as like, yo, how you guys sitting here clowning? I wouldn't stay silent, to be honest with you. I wouldn't. Because I would definitely defend my sisters if someone was on a podcast talking reckless. And you could say that's immature of me to defend my sisters. But if someone was talking reckless about my sisters, I would definitely have something to say to that person or persons. But that's my take on this. What's yours? As always, I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So tell a friend to tune in, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, hit that like button. And as always, stay honorable.